on, YouTube? I'm back at y'all, man, after pushing 7 months since my last video. Also, if you couldn't tell by the intro to this video, I am back at Prime. Y'all know the white truck was my first truck. The blue truck, tell right there. The blue truck in the intro is the truck I'm in now. So, yeah, I'm back. And why am I back? Because last I talked with y'all, I had decided I was going to go back home and take a local job after completing the lease on my first truck and returning it and all of that. So, what happened with that, man? I returned the truck, obviously, and lease completion bonus ended up being just under $20,000. It was about $19,000. I want to say about $700, something like that, $19,700 and some change. So, went home with that and got home and just relaxed, chilled out, unwinded, spent time with the family. You know what I'm saying? Just took a breath, you know what I'm saying? Took a deep breath because, you know, as I recapped and looked back on it, man, I ran pretty hard over those 3 years. So, especially how I ended the last 6 months of my lease and what ultimately led to my decision of, you know, originally and initially going back and grabbing a local job. I had gotten to the point where I don't want to say I burnt myself out, but I was definitely fatigued to be on the road. So that nice little break, which ended up being Thanksgiving all over New Year's, that break was much needed. So I didn't really do much. You know, I pretty much stayed home, which spanned about 6 weeks. The first 2 or 3 weeks, I literally did nothing but just relax and enjoy my time with my family. And then started putting in some applications. All right, so it was one job I really wanted, but had I put the application in within that first 3 weeks when I wasn't doing anything, I probably would have got the job. But since I loafed around, didn't put the app in until about 3 weeks after I'd been home, they ended up filling that position before I really got my app in. So was never really considered for that spot, but it is what it is. Everything happens for a reason. So I put in the app with what's this company? Black Horse Carriers, which I spoke about in previous videos, because that company with their Aldi account was one of the jobs I was considering taking, you know, when I went home and you know, took a local job. But after analyzing that and realizing it was going to be a 150-mile round trip drive every day to and from, the traffic I'd be dealing with, Northern Virginia, Maryland traffic, and then the tolls I would be paying to avoid that traffic with the Easy Pass, I'm just like, man, it's not really worth it. So that same company has an account with Toyota, hauling auto parts. So I put in the app with them. The first position I applied for was delivering to actual Toyota dealerships. I think I was gonna have like a 45-foot trailer with a lift gate, and basically go to these dealerships overnight shifts. So I think it was gonna start at like 9 p.m., be done by like 6 a.m. and just go in there, drop off some pallets, and leave. It was about 6 or 7 stores each night. Simple, light work, but they filled that position. But they called me, the hiring or the supervisor or the manager, whoever I was in contact with. He called me to let me know that they filled that position, but he countered that with another position on the same account, except I wouldn't have been delivering to the stores. I'd have been going from Virginia to Pennsylvania, dropping the hook in Pennsylvania, coming back. Simple, you know what I'm saying? Something I can do in my sleep. Both those positions were salaried. The one I was offered, the drop and hook one, was salaried at $1,400 a week. And, you know, after looking up some reviews of the company and that specific account, I found some drivers that talked about what they ultimately was taking home, and most of them were saying about $1,150, so just around $1,200, a little under $1,200 net per week, which is a pretty big drop from the amount of money I've gotten used to making, you know what I'm saying, or I had gotten used to making at that point with Prime. Obviously, can't even compare it to the training checks, because those were up to 6 times that amount. But even on the solo side, you know, $1,200 is probably a average, maybe even below average check when I run solo. And running solo, I can make twice that amount and on occasion 3 times that amount. So it's a pretty big drop. But really, once I took into account the hours, it was Monday through Friday, which is fine. The pay, I wasn't really feeling the pay, but like I said, it wasn't fair to compare it to what I was used to making over the last 3 years. But what really kind of put me over the edge with it was the hours. 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. And coming off the road, the thing you look forward to the most, the thing I was looking forward to the most, the main reason I was coming off the road was to be able to spend more time with my family. But with those hours, I'm at home, they're at school and work. I'm at work, they're at home. So I'm not really getting to see them until the weekend. So ultimately, I was like, it's really not worth it, man. So that combined with the fact, had maybe 1 or 2 other things come up that kind of got me a little concerned about the amount of money I was going to be making. And I couldn't shake the thought and the idea of just going back to Prime and grabbing a short lease truck, which was something I was considering doing as I approached the end of the lease for my first truck. So as I couldn't get rid of that thought, couldn't shake the feeling that was the best thing to do, it was a battle between logic, my logical side and my emotional side. Obviously, the emotional side wanted to stay home. The logical side was like, man, you need to go back out there and, get the money, because you're not really gaining anything here. You're not really getting anything because of those hours. You're not really spending the time with your family that you want to spend. And you're taking a pay cut. It's not worth it. So that's ultimately what led me back out here. So I came out here. In mind, I was thinking, grab the short lease truck, all right, which this truck is. This truck is, I got in this truck the second week of January. The lease ends June 18th. Today is the 16th of May. So I got basically 4 weeks left on this lease. So I came out here and I said to myself, by the time I'm done with this lease, it'll be summertime. The trucking industry as a whole, things slow down during the winter, pick back up spring and summer. So taking that into consideration, I'm like, okay, by the time I finish the lease on this short lease on this truck, get back home in the summertime, there'll be more jobs available, better paying jobs, and just a bigger pool to pick out of. So that also played into my decision to come out here. So came out here, was like, man, I'm not going to train. I'm just going to run solo and just do my thing for 6 months. And I got to Prime. I got this truck, which I had my eye on once I ultimately decided I was going to come back. Decided to go ahead and look at the Success Leasing website and their inventory to see what was available. Saw this truck and said to myself, man, if this truck is there when I get to the terminal, that's what I'm gonna take. And this was about a week before I showed up. So the truck stayed there. I got there after scouting it for a week, and it was there. So I grabbed it and I bounced. While I was finishing up, signing some paperwork or getting some things in order with this truck at the leasing office, my fleet manager rolled through. We ended up talking for a little bit. Ultimately, he asked me, you looking for a trainee? And I was like, in my mind, I'm like, nah, I'm gonna run by myself. But what came out of my mouth was, if you got somebody that meets my criteria or whatever, I'll grab them. So he hit me up the next day. I left with a load that night. He hit me the next day after I got unloaded. Like, yo, I got this trainee for you out of Piston. Gave me his number, called him, talked with him. We hit it off on the phone. Ended up picking him up about 2 days later. And then we basically just rolled all the way up until about 2 weeks ago. So really at least 2/3 of this lease was spent with him on the truck, which was great. He lived 20 minutes away from me, which is a big deal when it comes to training for me. We were able to get home a couple times with the load, and the biggest reason I was going to stay solo is because I wanted to be able to get home when I wanted to. So the fact that I knew I wasn't going to stay out for the amount of time he would have needed. So hold on, got a load coming.
Attention, a new important message.
Alright, so yeah, what I was saying, he had to do 50,000 miles, and that's going to take at least 2 months. Really about 2.5. I'm not staying out for 2.5 months straight. So most I'm going to give you is about 4 weeks. So we ended up going home twice, taking 4 days off, 4 or 5 days off one time, and about 7 off the second time. And then we also were able to get by the house with a couple loads where we were able to stay home between 14 hours and one of the loads had about 34, 35 hours on it, extra on it. So that worked out well. Obviously, I was able to make the money I like to make when I train. And on top of that, man, when the coronavirus hit, where I would have been at with the local job I had accepted, like I said, I had actually accepted that job, but ironically enough, the same day I took a rental car and drove back to Springfield, I was supposed to be there doing the road test and DOT physical and drug test and all that. But I let them know, though. I ain't leave them hanging. I let them know the week before that I wasn't going to take it. But if I had took that job when the coronavirus hit, on top of that pay cut I was going to take, man, they actually told drivers not even to come into work for about 2 or 3 weeks because everything had slowed down so much. So I would have potentially been not even working for 2, maybe more weeks because of the stay-at-home order and all that. So ultimately, man, it paid off, and my decision was validated in more than one ways. So between the coronavirus, between the training I ended up taking that I wasn't planning on taking, the truck I really wanted that I was scouting when I decided I was gonna come back, those 3 things validated my decision to come back out here, as well as something I found out about 3 days ago, which was I had a friend of mine hit me up. We used to work together back at Canada Dry. He's been at UPS for the last year, and for those of y'all that's been following me for a while, you've heard me talk about UPS. Y'all know how I feel about UPS. I worked there before. After I graduated high school, I worked there in the warehouse. After I left college, I came back there and worked as a package car driver, and ultimately becoming one of the feeder drivers, or the guys that drop day cabs and pull doubles from warehouse to warehouse or hub to hub. That's really what I wanted to get into, but just didn't work out for me several years ago. So he hit me up and told me it was hiring, and that also ultimately validated my decision because, like I explained earlier, the plan was to come back home in the summertime and there'd be more jobs and better paying jobs available. Well, here we are going into the summer, and now I have opportunity to get in with UPS. So that's really what's going on with me for the last 6 months. You know, since y'all heard from me last, that's what I've been up to. That's what's been going on. Now, as far as the UPS job goes, I'm actually not going to take it. Reason being, about 6 weeks ago, me and 3 other gentlemen, we decided that we were going to do a joint business venture together in trucking. And I'm a man of my word. You know, word is bond, and that's really all you got as a man when it all boils down to it. So I'm going to stick to that. We got, you know, we're collectively 4 like-minded individuals, same work ethic, same goals in life, same outlook on what it is we want to accomplish. So I'm going to stick with that, and that's something we're supposed to be getting in the works by this fall. So as things come together with that, I'll keep y'all posted, because it's not only something that what we plan to do is not just going to benefit us, it'll be able to benefit others as well. So as things progress along, I'll loop y'all in or whatever. But I'm going to stick with that, man. At the end of the day, if what we got planned doesn't work out in our favor, another UPS position will open up sooner or later. But what we're planning on doing, if it works the way we want it to work out and goes to the level that we aspire, I won't even be really driving a truck in the next year. So better take a chance on that. Like I said, at the end of the day, if it doesn't work out, UPS job will be there sooner or later. So yeah, man, that's pretty much what's been up with me the last 6 months. Shout out to those of y'all that reached out to me on social media and comments on some of my older videos, asking, you know, what's going on, everything good with you, what you up to. Ain't seen a video from you in a while. Ran into a couple people in person at the Springfield terminal, the Piston terminal, and I think I ran into 2 people at 2 different truck stops, and it was kind of the same thing. Like, yo, what's up with the videos? You ain't put no video up in a while, man. Watched you for a while or whatever. You know, most of y'all, like I said, if I ran into you at the terminal, you obviously work at Prime. So those of y'all that work at Prime was like, yeah, man, your videos was what I was watching that ultimately led me to come here, and you know, so on and so forth. So shout out to y'all, man. Appreciate the interest and everything. But yeah, that's what it is, man. That's what I've been up to. So before I get out of here though, y'all noticed that in the intro to this video there was a little 7-second clip that I took from my Instagram. The other night I was scrolling through my previous post and whatever, came across that video. Now what was interesting about it is that I was in California at this place, Albert Organics, if you know, you know, and I just recorded how tight it was or whatever. But so you see my truck, my white truck at the time that I was in, and then 2 docks over there's a blue truck. So when I was watching the video, I'm like, oh, it looks like this truck. And then as I examined the video and was able to see the truck numbers, turns out it actually was this truck. So I thought that was kind of interesting, how there's always signs around us. You know, the universe puts things out there you don't even, how could I know? You know, so how could I know that? But it's just like, what are the odds that I actually was going to capture that on camera? You know, my current truck and what would be my future truck as far as the short lease goes. So just threw that in there for the intro, but thought that was kind of interesting and dope. But yeah, man, I'm back out here and shit, doing my thing, man. Lastly, I came out here with goals, as y'all know. One of my goals was to get myself in a position through saving money and working on my credit to purchase a home. So I'm in the middle of closing on my first house right now. Should have the keys in hand with that in June. And me and my lady, we are expecting our second child in October. So there's been a lot going on. But at the end of the day, man, the hard work and the discipline, dedication, it always pays off, man. So yeah, it always pays off. And all I know how to do is work hard and develop goals and just do my best to get them accomplished. So with that being said, y'all, I appreciate y'all as always watching, liking, sharing, subscribing. Until next time, y'all be easy.